I'm Safi Russell from SDR Consulting Inc., and we're here today on Business Basics Friday. The goal of this session is to provide some value to small business owners in the space of tax, accounting, and general business, and then have an open Q&A at the end.
Hello. Good afternoon. Happy Friday to everyone. Welcome to Business Basics Friday. Go ahead and share where you're joining in from in the comments. If you're here live on Facebook, or if you're here in Clubhouse, you can go ahead and comment in the chat, and I'll try to look to the side and capture that. But I want to thank you again for joining us for Business Basics Friday. I'm here in New York area, and our guest speaker will share where they're joining us from. And it is currently 75, so we're still holding on to a little bit of warmth here in New York. So if you're here for the first time, a little bit about today's session and myself. I'm Safietou Russell, CEO and founder of SDR Consulting Inc. Business Basics Friday is a weekly session catered to providing valuable information to business owners. We have a variety of guest speakers that come in to help share information and educate you on the many areas of your business that you need to manage. And this is a disclosure. This is strictly for education and information purposes. There's no client relationship or any legal advice being provided here. As far as my background, I've been in the industry 20 years. I'm a CPA and enrolled agent, and also have a master's in taxation. And SDR Consulting Inc. is a virtual firm based in New York, but we do work with clients all over the US. And we mostly work with business owners, especially those in the mental health profession, helping them reduce their concerns regarding tax and accounting so they can focus on their own clients and own well-being. And so if you do have any questions during the session, feel free to post them in the comments in the chat, and we will go over them at the end. And so at this time, I want to introduce our guest speaker for today. We have Josh Damigo, hopefully I said that right, from Influential You, to share with us identifying your superpower in business. So Josh, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Thanks, Safietou. It's so good to be here. And it's 1:05 here in California, rolling blackouts going crazy. I'm in Ventura, California, where we have a little bit of shade. But I am at the studio that we record from in Ojai, which is next to the city that Oprah lives in. So we are in good company this morning. It's going to be a lot of fun today. And I work in business and philosophy for an education company that teaches people a process that also includes people. And that's what we do at Influential You. And I'm so happy to be here, Safietou. Thank you for having me. Uh-oh, you're muted.
Thank you.
Here to help.
Thank you. Yes, technology, right? So we've got Matthew from Seattle, Washington. Thank you for joining us live here on Clubhouse, and feel free to keep sharing where you're joining in from. So we're going to do something a little different today, which is fun. And Josh is going to go ahead and kind of introduce the interview, or quiz that we're going to go through today. But we're going to learn a little bit about identifying your superpower and the importance of that. And it's going to be a kind of an interactive session where I'm going to go through this quiz live. It's going to be totally transparent with everybody, and it should be fun. So Josh, go ahead and feel free to intro what we're doing.
I love this because we were introduced by a good friend, and Jessica introduced us and told me a little bit about what you do. And it's fun because I get to play in business in a way that a lot of people don't get to. I get to play in the peopling aspect of the business. Most people will put processes, and I guarantee that Safietou is telling all of you guys to have your processes down, work on your processes. You can't manage people, you can manage processes. Really important to have that process, but what you find really quickly is that more often than not, people don't hit send and then just do what you want them to do. We are the only company that I know of that actually has a peopling aspect to the process. And today, what we're going to do is we're going to have Safietou take a quiz to find out maybe part of her worldview. How does she view the world? What part of work does she really love doing? And what part of work would be really costly for her? Things that she may not like to do. As an entrepreneur, you have to get help. The bigger the dream, the bigger the team, right? And if we're doing it ourselves, it's really hard. And if entrepreneurs are out there constantly starting businesses, closing businesses, how do we do it where it's more fun, where they enjoy what they're doing, they're loving their life, but they're also doing the things that they like and not necessarily doing the things that they don't? I'll start with this. You can already tell that I'm more enthusiastic than a cup of coffee in the morning. It's 9 o'clock here in California. And when Safietou and I were meeting, she was like, okay, well, slow it down, calm. I can tell from the get-go that if Safietou was in the middle of some rigor of doing some taxing and accounting and crunching numbers, I would be the worst person to walk into her office, because I would walk in with sunshine, rainbows, and butterflies and put my mood all over her, making it slower for her, less productive. And yet our culture tells us to be in, right, out, right, up, right, down, right, happy all the time. You need to walk into, good morning, everybody. No. Check what the mood is and make sure it's appropriate, because that might not be appreciated to Safietou. So this morning, we're going to see a little bit about her personality, but I'll start with just that. And Safietou, any questions on anything that I said there, anything that your listeners might like from your perspective?
No, I think that was a great example of the importance of identifying these superpowers in yourself and others, because when you're working with a team, it's going to help people feel more comfortable, feel more not out of place, feel more aligned with the work. Also with the clients that you're dealing with, depending on the line of business that you're in, it's going to help you in that way. So, I've fortunate to be mentored in business and learn a little bit about personalities in the past, and it's made a big difference in dealing with people, because we come across all different personality types. And so I'm gonna have fun with this, but when I see different variations of these quizzes and such, I'm always intrigued by it. And it's amazing how whoever has studied this, right, how on track they are, and how we can identify with what we are, no right or wrong answer, right, and use that in our business. So I'm gonna go ahead and share the screen. And
that's so good. Now,
yeah.
here's where it's going to get really fun, Safietou. So what you said is perfect, right? We've studied over 200 of these. 4 quadrant personalities come to us from the Greek. It's literally something that your teacher probably talked about when you were like in high school, junior high, that we probably all slept through. But what's funny about it is Hippocrates was basically saying that there are 4 types of people. There's a type of person that loves theory. They love to create narrative. They love the ideas, but they never really get things kind of done. They never really, they stay in this land of like intention. That's me. I'm what we call a performer or a constructivist. That's my worldview. Everything is a story. I'm building narratives. Well, there's the opposite is true. There's going to be those skeptics, those people that build a narrative, but they do it from facts. They're fact-based. We're going to call them judges. And more often than not, a judge is a deconstructivist or a skeptic. Those are those people that are great at finance. A lot of times they love their numbers. And what you find is that my skill set, you probably want me to be drinking at a party, mixing with somebody, or I'm not working. That's how you know I'm working. I'm out at a mixer saying hi. Well, a lot of times those judges, if they go into work like that, that would be exhausting for them. That would be a very long day. I can do 5 hours of talking and still come back the next day with more. No, I need a rest. They like to just kind of be by themselves, do some thinking, deep thinking, a lot of factual things. Hey, here's what you can't do. Here's what you need to know. If I did the accounting, it would be creative accounting. Now, that's not for everybody, but what you find really quickly is that I'm really happier doing the peopling. Well, if those two are true, well, there's probably people in between us. There's the people that are the idea-based. These are the people that are your CEOs 5 years out. They're probably too smart for all of this. In fact, they're so smart, they're a lot of ego-driven because they need to have a big ego for those big plans that they're making. Well, the opposite is true. That objective person, we're going to call them a producer. Hey, the dummies upstairs said we're going to do something. Here's how you actually do it. Your engineers, they love a contract and tell us what to do. Let's get it done. Now, here's what's really valuable about it. All we study is the exchange. Outside of this, Safietou can be anyone she wants to be. But when we exchange, if I'm going to speak her language, I probably need to know a little bit more about how she views the world. Should I be story-based? Should I be fact-based? Should I tell her about all the people I'm going to include her with? Should I praise her ideas? If I want to have an effective communication with Safietou, I'm going to stop and listen to what she has to say and see if her worldview matches up with the way that I think she might be thinking and adjust my speaking accordingly. It's more than just a culture problem that we're seeing. It's a people problem. We don't learn how to functionally people with one another. So as you take this quiz, here's what's fun. Everyone can take this quiz, and you can actually see the link in the top corner. But Safietou, when you take it, there's no right or wrong answers. There's just what you like the most. Which one of these answers gravitates towards you? And I'll let you go ahead and start taking the quiz and talk about your brain as you do it.
Okay, perfect. So I'm going to read this for anyone who's listening in on the podcast. And so the first question is, which business idol has traits most like you? Option 1 is Oprah Winfrey. I'm outgoing, I care deeply about others, and I'm a great storyteller. Jeff Bezos, I prefer a well-oiled, consistent, and efficient machine like Amazon. Warren Buffett, I'm meticulous and apply time-tested standards to make the right moves. And lastly, Elon Musk, I'm a visionary on a mission and have lots of new inventions and ideas. And so for me, I'm more like Jeff Bezos, hopefully I said that right.
Good.
All right. And that was the, I don't know if I can go back, but that was the time-tested, or prefer a well-oiled, consistent, and efficient machine like Amazon.
Love that. Great answer. Now, mine would have been Oprah, clearly. Yes. But what's fun about that, right? No wrong answers. No wrong answers. All right, next one. This is a good one.
Perfect. Which of the following quotes do you prefer taped to your fridge? First one, when you do more than you're paid for, eventually you'll be paid for more than you do. Zig Ziglar. Second one, whatever you can do or dream, you can begin. Whatever you can do or dream, you can begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Johann Wolfgang, I'm not going to say the rest of the name because I'm going to butcher it. Third one, they may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. Carl Buchner. And then the last one, the fact that an opinion has been widely held is no evidence whatever that it is not utterly absurd.
Ooh, this is a good one. This is a good one.
This is a good one. Let's see. Let me read these over to myself again. Whatever you can do. You know, in this one, I'm going to go with the third one. They may forget what you said, but they will never forget how you made them feel. That one stands out to me.
Same as me. Same as me.
All right, great. Next question. Which of the following do you agree with the most? Blank is more important than blank. Option 1, consistency is more important than ideas. Option 2, relationships is more important than results. Option 3, vision is more important than perfection. And then option 4, evidence is more important than speed. I like consistency is more important than ideas.
Love that. That's perfect. I'm relationships.
Yep. All right, cool. Next one. What is your dominant need for your personal happiness? This is powerful. Security, freedom, certainty, or consistency?
That's a hard one, right?
Dominant need for personal happiness.
Yeah. One of those words might stick out to you a little bit more. You might get a feeling, you might not. You're like, hey, it might not be sexy. Okay, which one you got?
The one certainty is the one that sticks out to me.
Good choice. Good choice. Okay. Yeah, mine's freedom.
Freedom. Yep. I was torn between at least 3 of them, but that one kept coming.
Yeah, good. Good.
All right, next one. What keeps stopping you from making your goals a reality? Option 1, imposter syndrome. I never feel like I know enough. 2, I can't seem to break through my own glass ceiling. 3, I don't know where to start. 4, there's already so many people doing what I want to do. I'm going to go with, I can't seem to break through my own glass ceiling. And I'm working on that. I've gotten past some levels of glass ceiling, but definitely improvement for more. So that one stands out to me.
Not a whole lot of people with really good podcasts on Fridays that y'all are listening to and turning into. So there you go. You're doing something right. Good work.
All right, great. Next one. You walk into a cocktail party. What happens next? This is fun. Option 1, I find a couple of friends and mostly hang with them. Option 2, I order the bartender's signature cocktail and try to figure what she puts in it to make it so delicious. Option 3, I walk straight up to that business influencer I've been trying to meet and strike up a conversation. Option 4, without even trying, I become the center of a large group of laughing people. Option 1, I find a couple of friends and mostly hang with them.
Are you loyal? Are you very loyal to your friends, Safietou?
Yes.
To a fault?
And I will go to that influencer, but it would be my first thing to do.
Yeah, for me, I go to it and then it's like I try to get this group around. And the last one I was at was the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce. And I made a big game with my friend Sarah. And it was a game where she and I had to run around for 15 minutes and collect as many business cards as possible. I walked back with 8. She walked back with 8. And we had 3 or 4 people cheering us on.
Nice.
That's me at a mixer.
Love it.
Clown in a golf cart.
Next one, for meetings, do you most often arrive just in time, but often a little late? Option 2, always on time and usually the first one to arrive. 3, on time, but only just in time to start, and on time, but not too early. I'm going to go with the on time, but not too early for me.
Yeah, and you and I know how I do this morning, and that's. But see, here's where it's really fun. Yes. I'm late to everything because I'm so happy where I was at. Philosophically, I'm where I'm at. Right? You don't have to tell me to be present. I'm going to be that.
Right.
And I think psychologically, or maybe even like in my bones, that hey, if I show up, well, that's okay if I'm late because I'm giving you all of me when I'm here. That's not okay. That's not okay in business. I need to actually fix that if my biology is wired that way. It doesn't give me an excuse to show up late to everything. So what's the first thing I do? The second I figured out I might be a little bit late, shot you an email quick. Hey, the navigator says I'm going to be, because that communication is really helpful. And if you're where I think you are, oh boy, Josh showing up could be a painstaking experience for 4 minutes. So good work.
Now, what's funny is in getting that email, then the pressure was off. Like, okay, we're good on the time zone, no issues. Because the worst thing is, you're here live and you're like, okay, we're stuck.
And I didn't have to teach you anything to make you feel better.
The communication.
But that's what's so valuable, because once I can communicate with my clients that way,
exactly,
you start to ease the pain of that whole communication thingamajigger.
Yes.
All right.
The disconnect.
You're up.
All that.
So
yes. I seem to learn best by option 1, listening and reading. 2, thinking and reading. 2, 3, talking and writing, and 4, doing and listening. And let me read that to myself for a minute. So listening and reading, thinking and reading, talking and writing, doing and listening is how I learn best.
Yeah, I'm a talker. I think when I'm speaking.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, next one. We've got about four more to go. So when you're most productive, what's your go-to mood? Number 1, determined and rigorous. 2, social and gregarious. 3, imaginative and optimistic. 4, skeptical and confrontational. When I'm most productive, I'm determined and rigorous.
Yeah, you are. Oh my God. I think I said the first time we met, I said, ooh, I love how organized this is. Oh, and hanging out with you, Safietou, is so good for me because I'm so unorganized. It's so much fun when I get to talk to you because I'm like, oh, good, I'm taken care of. Oh, all I get to do, I just get to be here, but you have the structure and I just play your game. Keep going. This is so fun for me.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Next up, I often think about, number 1, the present moment and the people in it. 2, the long-term future and how life could be. 3, the events and facts of the past. And 4, the next few months and what I need to do. I am in the next few months and what I need to do phase. All right. Second to last option here. What behavior most drives you crazy? People that are flaky and lack loyalty. Those who are disrespectful of others. That's number 2. Number 3, idiots who can't see what is so obvious. And number 4, those who can't seem to follow the rules. If I had to pick one, it would be those who are disrespectful of others.
Me, I'm the same. But if you disrespect my waiter, I don't even know that waiter, but we are gonna have hands because you treat that waiter nice. They have a hard enough job. So
absolutely, good. Absolutely. All right, and last one here. What role do you tend to prefer? Number 1, leading others towards new possibilities. 2, building networks and powerful narratives. 3, assessing the facts and offering critical thinking. 4, building alliances and getting things done. Okay, the one that stands out to me the most is assessing the facts and offering critical thinking.
Oh, very good. Right. I like that.
All right.
And of course, we're going to go and capture it because we're a business and we want to, of course, we're going to try to get all your stuff and you're going to get a few emails with your superpower, but there you go. Producer. Now, here's what's great about the quiz and here's what's cool about this. Now, these are possibilities. One of the things that you may hate about philosophy, if you're a producer, Safietou, this is actually more funny, is that there is no black and white. And a producer's world is very black and white. You're either on my team or you're not. And I'm going to decide real quick. Many times what you find is that there's an asset and a liability there. But what I don't like about quizzes, and what you'll laugh is I just made you take a quiz that's for my company, and then I'm going to say this. Quizzes are garbage. We're terrible at self-evaluation.
Mm.
More often than not, human beings either think they're way better than they are, that's probably me, or way worse than they are, probably me on a different day. But what you find is that when you're subconscious, when you have those duality gaps, and you have someone with you that actually calls out things. Hey, Safietou, did you know that you do this? Hey, you might not know that you came into this meeting with rigor, and I came into it all joyous and, hey, how are you? Hey, how's it going? And if I'm not careful, I become more costly. When I call you, you're immediately going to decide on your phone when you see my name, is this going to be costly or valuable? And our aim is to get people to answer the phone because they know the value that's going to be on the other end. So what you'll see now is you'll be able to scroll down and we can just assume this starts the journey to see if this really is how you think. And if so, here are some of your assets and here are your liabilities. Here are your superpowers. Here are your kryptonites. So why don't you go ahead and read the superpower and tell me what you think about the superpower.
All right, so my superpower is producers tend to be short-term and objective in their thinking and are highly work-oriented doers.
Oh, do you like to get to work? Do you like to have a checklist?
Yes.
Do you like to, you know why I like hanging out with you? I will go to the beach in a suit and tie because, oh, we're going to the beach. You go, Josh, you need to get, and I got the picnic basket and here's the sunscreen and here's the, and you, and I'm like, oh, thank you. All right, now here's the kryptonite. Let's see if the kryptonite. All right.
So funny because literally the bag is packed, like if not the night before, the morning of, for sure.
All right, let's see if the kryptonite fits.
Kryptonite. So producers tend to halt transactions with premature or unnecessary doing and may avoid dismiss completion and flexibility.
So you're really good at being flexible with your thinking. You played off of me really well. There may be a tendency sometimes to do the same thing. Hey, no, we have a process. We do the process. And outside the process, sometimes it can be hard to flex on that if you have to. Now, not always, but what you want to think is more often than not, there's a person over there, not just a project to do. And sometimes that can be an issue. So that's just an example. You can go down a little bit more and see how personal you want to get, but you'll see what we show here is, hey, here's where you fit on our transactions. In exchanges, the perfect place for that producer is really in the work and action, really in the places where, hey, let's get something done. I love making results. I love to complete things. You're probably the most reliable person in your friend group. They probably look to you to constantly be the reliable one. And when you're off, they're all sorts of scattered. And it's fascinating when you see that you're kind of that rock that really makes sure that the things that get done in the group get done. What a value in that. And knowing that that's, but here's the danger. You might give too much value. When we ask our producer many times, hey, Liz, I need a pencil. Well, Liz can run down to the store and see a pencil and she goes, oh yeah, but well, if he needs a pencil, he also might need an eraser. So she grabs an eraser, puts it in. Oh, well, if he needs a pencil and eraser, he might need a sharpener. Grabs a sharpener. You know what? He doesn't even have a place on his desk for new sharpeners. So she shows up back to the office with a brand new desk for me, a whole bunch of pencils, colored pencils, in fact. She brings erasers. And I'm like, Liz, I just needed one pencil.
Yeah.
So delivering too much value sometimes and realizing, no, I'm doing too much. You need to do your responsibilities. Hey, if you're not going to meet me here, I'm not going to do the extra work to pick you up. Group projects probably were annoying to you when you got into it. Oh, look at that. I just got to breathe. All right. So if you scroll down a little bit more, you may be able to see some of the, I think there's more. You can see all the superpowers, the kryptonites, even the philosophic worldview. Now for you, I don't know if this is true, but I kind of relate to you in that producer way. Knowing where you are allows me to change what I need to change. You still want me to be funny. You're a human being. It's great. We want to have fun. But when it's time to get to work, you need to shut up and get to work. I don't know how much time you have left, but if you want to go over a couple superpowers or kryptonites and see if those ring true for you, that's totally fine with me.
Yeah, and if anyone has questions or comments, go ahead and drop them in the chat. I wanted to comment on definitely group projects were brutal. Yes. And but when it comes to the flexibility, right? And working with your clients, right? So whatever your industry is, if you're in, mental health, if you're in accounting, whatever it may be, in my opinion, it's important to have a process, right? Streamline your process so you're not all over the place, which can affect the end product, can affect communication. But then there will be some clients that you come across, and where it's possible, HIPAA compliance can kind of limit some things, but where it's possible, you may have to communicate with them a little differently than others because your process may be too challenging for them at that moment. And that is something I had to do and continue to do to work on being more flexible, because when you pull people like producers out of their process, it can cause confusion, anxiety, stress, etc. So like understanding that, but also understanding their view as well. I've seen it in real life, and I encourage you to really work on some of the tools and skills that you can utilize to get more well-rounded to work with those different types. Like you said, there's 4 major groups, but then within that, there's more. So I wanted to comment on that. And then I did have a question here, like about this transaction behavior, because just for those who are listening in, can we walk through like what this process actually means, the stages of where I guess an idea starts and how it's accomplished?
Yeah, will you Control F and see if there is a transaction cycle somewhere on that page? You might just put Control F on the page and then hit the word cycle and see if that shows up anywhere.
No.
Okay, so that is laid on top of another diagram.
Okay.
Now, the other diagram, you're going to have to invite me on for another one, but that's how human beings exchange.
Got it.
Up at the top is something what we call invent. You invent an idea. Then next to that is going to be invite. And that's going to be kind of in between the performer and the producer.
Got it.
Next to that is going to be a presentation, right? After that presentation, they say, yes, you're going to go to a contract. Now, notice where you and I, performer, producer, that contract divides us. Remember how you and I were talking about, hey, what if we talked about contracts? There was a reason for that. Why? I hate them. You love them. Hey, what are we getting done?
Right.
HIPAA compliance.
Right.
Hey, are we covered? Hey, are we taken care of?
Right.
Great. I don't like that. Oh, no, thank you. I get a person like you next to me, and boy, we are going to take over the world because we got someone that's fun to work with and someone that's fun to do. And boy, we just mix really well. Well, then it goes into the producer land of, okay, here's what we're going to do. Now we're going to fulfill, do labor work in action, and then we're going to measure. Now, here is when you start to read the kryptonite. Sometimes a producer doesn't like the change. Not always. Sometimes it's difficult for them to actually see that what we've always done isn't going to get us to the next step. Do you remember the question about the glass ceiling?
Yes.
What happens oftentimes is that they need a judge to come in and be like, hey, this is really bad. We need to fix this process. Well, why? This is how we've always done it. Now, I'm not saying you're guilty of that, but there's a natural pull in the type of work that's done in the work, labor, and action.
Yeah.
That makes you just keep doing.
Yeah.
So if I get you a checklist, it's kind of hard to stop. Josh, what do you need me to do now? But now it's time for me to readjust, and I don't like working with you. I'm going to go with somebody else. Well, in comes the judge. They measure things. They complete it. Measuring and completing is different. Measuring, you're just seeing if it was done. And then you put facts and judgments on it. And too many people in our culture try to put facts and judgments on things before they measure it. But they don't want to come up with a new idea and assess a thing, which is between the judge and the inventor. They'd rather point out your flaws than come up with a new idea for how to fix it. And then in comes the inventor that can assess and invent a solution.
Love it.
Once you start to see where your personality is and how it lies in the transaction cycle, you start to realize where you gravitate towards in work and where you might want to get some help. Because I love being the people person, but I need someone to pull me back to work and say, no, you still got to work today. Right. Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Love it. Love it. Thank you. Thank you for that. So I'm going to go over 1 or 2 more superpowers, and then if there's no questions, we'll go ahead and wrap up. This has been enlightening, and everything you hit was on the money. Okay, so this is a superpower for the producer type. Determined.
Austere and rigorous.
Thank you. Yep. Austere and thank you, rigorous. They are often in the mood to get things done, period.
Let's go.
Yep.
Let's go. Hey, Josh. Hey, Josh. It's 53. Josh, what are you doing? Do you want a sound check? Yeah. Yeah, it's good. Isn't it fun?
But we have to stop and smell the roses sometime, right? And that's something that I have to consciously do, because otherwise I'll just go. And so definitely I can see that now. Kryptonite.
Uh-oh.
Which one do I pick? Oh, interesting. Okay, I'm going to go with can seem negative, right?
Uh-huh.
So just,
Good.
and it says, just because you want to move everything from an idea to a to-do list doesn't mean others are ready for that. Requests for action can seem can come across like a negative mood. So, so I could see where, wanting to get to the task so much and kind of ignoring the people involved, right,
Yeah.
can make people feel like, um, they're not welcomed, they're not needed, they're machines, all of that.
Well, and it's a rigor, right? It's hey, I'm in the mood to get a thing done. And it's funny because with producers, you don't have to ask if they're busy. They are. Yes, you are interrupting. Don't worry, they're doing something. If it's for family, if it's for what you find a lot of times with producers, for them to smell the roses, they actually need to put it in their calendar. They actually need to set apart a time to smell the roses. Or they hang out with their performer friend that can't stop smelling roses and somehow but that's the beauty of human nature. You need me, I need you.
Right.
And if I learn how to exchange with you more properly, better, speak your language, not be offended when you want to, hey, Josh, that's enough. I need to get to work.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
And what I start to find out is I'm the problem, not you. And yet everyone's like, oh, sugar and spice and everything nice. That's what little girls are made out of. And boys are sticks and stones and or whatever, puppy dog tails, sticks and snails and puppy dog tails. Well, in culture, I'm allowed to just go be a happy-go-lucky guy. And a lot of times females get pushed into a role in which they have to be the caretaker when they naturally may be somewhere else. So there's so many dynamics going on. All I'm looking at is how do you exchange? And if you're in a mood of rigor, I should match that mood of rigor and allow you to be in that mood and probably get out of your way because I'm going to slow down your production and that's going to hurt business.
Interesting. Very interesting. Even with the gender roles, that's a whole nother day.
Yep. We're just
Whole
starting
nother
there.
day.
We're not even talking about anything else, but boy,
Right.
you know, we could go into a lot of
Yes.
different things there.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, I'm going to cover one more, and this one is positive-ish mood. So the glass is half full for some possibilities, but not necessarily all. That is interesting. That's very interesting because I feel for me overall, I am um, positive and always thinking about, okay, what comes next? Okay, this situation may have happened, but okay, I dealt with it. Now what's next? And there are other personalities that constantly revert back to that situation or constantly are dealing, carrying that along and can't turn it off. And so you'll come across this in your business, you'll come across this in relationships with your children, spouses, etc. Um, this mood and how emotions are dealt with, I could see definitely the difference in personalities and how that's handled. Then on the kryptonite side, let's see. Producers are often loyal to a fault. If others aren't pulling their own weight, they're traitors. And sometimes being too loyal costs the producer whole life satisfaction. Maybe you can expand on that a little bit, Josh.
Yeah. So when we're talking about this, why do we even work? Well, we work because we're actually trying to successfully satisfy different conditions of life. If you think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, what does a human being need in order to survive? Well, we're going to tell you that your health is number one. Your activity is number two. What you do with your mind and body is your activity. Your money, we talk about money as a tool that just measures the value of your work. And then your career. And this one I think you'll like and your listeners will probably like. It's the identity of self you build in the mind of others. What you start to find out is that if you're too loyal or you're loyal to a fault, you start to help other people get satisfied in their world. And then you neglect your own satisfaction. Now, I'm not looking for a happy life. I can't measure happiness in a bucket, but I can say, this is what I want for my life. Here's how I get it. And so what we teach a lot of times is basically saying, hey, are you giving too much? You and I probably give too much in different ways. I probably give too much of my time talking, enjoying, networking, happy-go-lucky. I need to get things done. You may have a point where you do too much for others, those love languages, right? So what you tend to find out is that if I'm not careful and thinking about my own aims and why I'm even doing this whole job and this work thing, I can go 20, 30 years and be completely dissatisfied and completely not know it. It's what a lot of boomers are facing right now. They didn't save up enough money. So what we help people do is think accurately about why they're working, what they're doing, and then move in ways, their biology and kind of the results that they're looking for that allow them to live a satisfied life. And if we're too busy doing things for others, we forget to take care of ourselves. So that's a little bit more of that. Tell me what you think about that one. Where does your brain go when I say all that?
I think that was a perfect wrap up for the whole purpose of all of this, right?
Oh, good.
And I think that once we identify exactly what you said, it'll help us in our career if you're working, it'll help you in business, it'll help you in relationships. That put a pretty nice bow on top of everything. And so, Josh, I want to just actually let people know quiz.influentialyoubiz.biz is the link to this quiz. I will post it in the Facebook Live at the end, so you can access the link quickly, and I'll go ahead and throw it in Clubhouse somehow so people can take this quiz and definitely learn more about themselves so that they can learn more about others as well as their business. And I really appreciate you being here today. I'm not seeing any questions come in. So what we'll do is go ahead and wrap up. I'm going to just share my contact information for anyone who came in late. And then Josh, I want you to share yours as well and how people can reach you. So again, we were here for Business Basics Friday. Thank you for joining us if you're here live or if you're on the replay or if you're listening on the podcast or watching on YouTube. And today was talking about identifying your superpower in business. And then we kind of went through the importance of doing that. It was enlightening for me and being transparent with you guys as far as me being a producer and the personality traits that I have and the pros and cons of each of them. And so as far as my background, SDR Consulting Inc. is a virtual tax and accounting and consulting firm based here in New York, where we work with clients all over. And we mostly work with business owners, especially those in the mental health profession, helping them with their tax and accounting concerns so that they can focus on themselves and their clients. And you can find us online at SDR Consulting on social media and at sdrconsultinginc.com. Also, you can schedule a free introductory call at 516-255-6603. And here's Josh to take it away.
Oh, that's so good. And I'll give you another second so you can put those links in and everything and do all the work that you need to do. And you want a producer to working on your stuff. I mean, like, you want a producer because they're going to be so meticulous in following those rules. So what you find out is she's doing the perfect role for what she wants. That's so, with her skill set, please hire her. Safietou, hire. Okay, so SDR Consulting. Josh Damigo, I'm out of California. I am in charge of business development for North America, Europe, and Africa for Influential You. We are a global education company for ambitious business. If you're serious about business and want to see results, that's what we do. Actually, all I'm going to do is plug this. You can find me on LinkedIn pretty easy. Just look up Josh Damigo. And then on October 25th, after you take this quiz, first, this is what's going to happen. Safietou is now going to get a couple emails saying, how does a producer influence? How does it? And so she's going to get kind of a good baseline of some of the things that she may not have considered that may be her assets and some that might be liabilities. And they might not all fit, because in a 30-year career, you're going to change. You're going to have different things that you've learned along the way. I'm really good with my calendar. You'd be shocked. On October 25th, we're doing a big we're going to talk all about the 4 quadrant personalities and why they're important. If you'd like to join us, we'd love to have you. It's on Zoom. It's interactional. Because if it wasn't, well, we shouldn't be teaching this stuff. So we want to have a relationship with you. And if you want to get coffee, let's just be friends on LinkedIn, and I like it. That's all from me, Safietou.
All right. Thank you again, Josh. And, definitely reach out, get that guidance that you need, industry proven, right? And thanks again for joining us here for Business Basics Friday. We're going to wrap it up now. And if you're here on the replay, feel free to comment the value you've gotten from this, because I know I got some as well. And we will not be here next Friday, but the following Friday after that, join us at 12 o'clock Eastern for Business Basic Friday. Happy tax season. Happy 9/15 deadline for everyone. That's what I'll be doing the next couple of days. And enjoy the rest of September. Speak to you the week after next. Everyone back in school. Stay safe, and we'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.